year anyway. We used to talk, but now we don't know what to say. Now we're just two passing strangers. We tried, you lied, goodbye forever. Put me down just to see me get back up again. 6 feet under and you're ready to give all the pain. If I was your new addition, you make me part of your equation. Shattered from the past, wish you were my last. Shattered me to pieces like broken glass. Came from a broken home. I've seen so many people go. Learn to make it on my own. It's easier for me to be alone. So how are you? Keep cutting through, claiming you're not like the other guys. And only if I could give you a chance. Show me that you mean it. Won't feel some type of way. Something must be real wrong with me. Keep wanting just to see you show up at my door. Et même quand je suis froide, un peu indifférent, tu continues tout de même de montrer tes efforts. I'm trying to keep my heart in peace. I just can't think but the way that I feel. It's too hard to trust. I mess it up. I just can't risk to be falling like this. Oh, what's
And welcome into this week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Rocket League. We're coming to you live from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena, coming in on our week 2 of Spring Rocket League Rumble. Tonight we'll be taking a look at the Fennec group. 3 teams battling it out for the Fennec title. Tonight our 3 teams have some old faces as well as some new ones. I'm your host, Greg Old Soul Smith, and this is Joe Tacky here with me on the desk calling all the action. Joe, how was last week? How are things looking? How are we setting up into this?
I think last week had some really impressive Rocket League that was played. A lot of my concerns from previous weeks are kind of patched out. That midfield looked a lot stronger. I think my main worries going into this week, though, have to kind of be highlighted by double commits are still really prevalent and a lot of just hitting the ball down the field without intention.
Yeah.
And I think if these teams find a way to link up, they're really going to push for that title this week.
Good, good. Okay, yeah. Well, we are back to the brackets in Rocket League Rumble. Each week is going to feature 2 brackets, the Octane bracket and the Fennec bracket. Our Fennec group features several up-and-coming teams that you may not have heard of because we've got some new faces coming around. The Surge, the Vipers, and the Spiders. All series are a best of 3. There's today's competitors, as you can see. Some familiar names, to be sure, but some new ones coming out. I don't think we've seen very much of the Spiders yet, have we?
No, it's first I heard of them. They might have appeared on our bracket before, but I'm really excited to see what they have for us today. I don't know exactly who's on that team, but I'm sure they're impressive. They have to show up for today, this championship day.
All right, well, you know the rules. Pretty typical. See if we can't get the event up there, letting you guys know how things are supposed to be done. This is our typical best of 3. There's going to be 2 teams, 3-man soccer for everybody. Octane bracket, Fennec bracket. This Fennec bracket. 5v5. Boy, not 5v5. Should be getting it. Oh, Doc's keys to the game instead. Doc's keys to the game in Rocket League are to create mistakes, punish the overcommits, play walls better, and demo to the end goal. Doc's keys to the game are always presented to you by Esports Tower. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, your performance under pressure. You'll be matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. First up, we have the Spiders and the Vipers. Have you seen a lot from the Vipers these weeks?
Not a lot, but not to say that they aren't prevalent for sure. I've seen them definitely take it to some of these bigger teams. And I think they have what it takes to pop off one of these days and just take it straight to a championship.
Well, they'll be playing against fresh Spiders. Do you have anything to say about new teams coming together?
I think new should never be used as a negative connotation.
Definitely.
Oftentimes we see these new teams pop off out of nowhere, brand new players or brand new combinations of players, and I think it's really exciting to see all these players that are growing via Esports Tower really come to show their talent and show up in amazing ways.
Definitely. Well, yeah, I'm ready to get into it if you are. Spiders versus Vipers. I'd love to see these new teams come together, have a lot of good cooperation. I know that double committing and not having that cooperation and not being able to find that connect can cause a lot of disconnect from ball to goal issues, but I'm sure they'll be doing fantastic tonight because they are practiced. They are professional. They're the Vipers and the Spiders. The Spiders roster have actually a pair of veterans, Zhydra and Tokay. We're very familiar with them. And the Vipers are full of new faces. Who will come out on top? Let's get right into it.
Yeah, so right off the bat, we're seeing a lot of back and forth, but quickly the Spiders are taking it to the offensive side, finding a way to pressure the Vipers into the corner. But again, here comes this back and forth once again as now the Vipers are pushing the Spiders back. And I think it's really impressive to see teams like the Spiders we haven't seen much of before. Ooh, and right off the bat, some great offense from the Vipers. But as I was saying before, it's cool to see the Spiders coming out swinging so early. And this back and forth is going to make for definitely an interesting game.
Ooh, a demo right after the 50-50, pulling Gumi off up with the ball. Not quite able to waterfall it in, but Zhydra goes into the follow-up. Baby trying to dig it on out of there, and Tokay ready to defend that position. We already see everything shifting over, but Papa doesn't want to prevent that. Zhydra trying to dig it back out of the corner and send it back down the field, and there's a lot of swipes back and forth here. A little bit of a double commit up there, but Tokay pulls out at the last second, looking to set up that 3-man position to play against Papa Jeff. He's sending it right up near towards the goal, but it's a little high. The follow-up's not quite there. Ooh, Gumi, a good bump to adjust towards the goal. Again, not quite there, looking to follow up, bring it in, and man, they're just all over the ball there. Zoot Baby climbing on top of it, following Tokay down. Papa Jeffy trying to set up with him to try and dig it out of the corner, get a 50-50 here, and it goes down to apparently Joff.
Yeah, and again, this back and forth, we're seeing a lot of back and forth in the midfield. I know I've said it a number of times now, but it feels like no team has been able to establish dominant pressure over this game yet. As we see Gumi knock it down the field, apparently also not able to get his wheels on the ball. But definitely something you have to look out for is that first man is still pressuring, which is very good. It's going to help the Vipers get out of their own end. And it's really impressive for me, personally, to see how Gumi is doing a really great job of forcing Vipers to be present for every single one of his clears. Because no matter how the Vipers try to push it out of their end, Gumi is there to stomp it right back into their offensive end and force them into a weird and boostless spot.
Boost pathing, interesting to bring that up. Oh, another demolition right in the corner. A lot of steals going on just out here. Papa trying to send it back up, and Toke trying to prevent that. We've seen a lot of it taken out of each other's hands, including Papa Jeffy kind of getting swiped on by his own teammate. Gooby now dribbling it up with a good chip. Stops, presents it over Zoop Baby, trying to get it towards that goal, but it's so close. A good save, chips it right towards the goal with Zydra left one-on-one to prevent that. Zoop Baby sending it up very close to the goal. Papa Jeffy ready to follow up, but is not quite there. Hits that goalpost. That can just always feel like the fourth man playing against you. Zydra looking to take it out of the corner uncontested, but Papa Jeffy doesn't let it get very far. Chipped again downfield. We do see a lot of back and forth here. If you could say one thing, what do you think is the catalyst for really pulling in together a 3v3 setup on one side?
I think it's consistency, and I think it's definitely communication. The teams that tend to pop off the most are the ones that communicate, like, indefinitely.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily, oh, I have to be passing because I'm communicating with my team where I am constantly. You can even communicate on plays like this. Vhydra can say, hey, I'm going for a solo play, so you guys back up and get ready for whatever's about to happen, right? So it's more or less just talking to each other and figuring out the plan as you cross the field, or even before then. That way, there's no confusion once you get on that end. And a goal for the Spiders, and I think this is really interesting because something that's really been prevalent in this game so far is that even with that first goal being in favor of the Vipers, you haven't really been able to tell that they've been all that ahead. And now we can see it be just as even, back to a 0-0 scoreline, essentially. And that's because the pressure is just mounting for both sides. It feels like both sides can't quite get a grasp of that midfield and can't quite find a way to keep the pressure going indefinitely. And I'm starting to wonder if that's a boost thing, or if maybe that's just both teams being fairly aggressive and forcing the other team out of their comfort zone.
It's interesting. And boost pathing takes a lot of cooperation and hot mics as well, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. Because as we're learning more about Rocket League, and as we've learned more in the last couple seasons of competitive pro scene, that those little mini pads that are only worth 12 boost a pop tend to be a lot more significant than people have given them the chance to be up until recent seasons. And oh, that double miss.
And Zydra, that is double that sends it right up in the center highway there. Umi looking to take it back out of that corner and use that to his advantage. Backs off a little bit when Zoop Baby's coming on strong, and another commit from Zydra from the back sends it up again. They do start to center it here, but Blue Team Vipers is already ready to take it back out and send it over, and it feels like they're not quite getting past this line. The players aren't really passing each other, and it's just kind of pushed back and forward, preventing the other team from scoring. Very defensive. We're only at a 1-1 so far, and there's only 20 seconds left in the goal, so we're probably looking in the eyes of an overtime if we can't get an exceptional score right here by Zoop Baby, but it's not going to be there. Umi looking to dig it back out, sends it over. Toke ready to follow up on it, but it's not quite there before Zoop Baby prevents it again. And these good saves are quality to see, but that offense is just not quite directing towards the goal. So we go right into an overtime, 1-1 on the first game. 50-50 goes in favor of the Spiders, but after a quick demo and another snap back from the blue side, goes up. Zydra with a little bit of hands on the ball. Oh, slips past another member, and Vipers are just preventing it from going anywhere, but at the same time have their people so deep into defense that they can't quite get it into the goal, and Kubi sends it right over, playing all through 3 different players there. That was a beautiful play right there.
Yeah, I think that was a really fun game to watch. It was really exciting, a lot of offense from both sides, and honestly, from teams named Vipers and Spiders, I'm not surprised in the slightest that most of that game was played offensively for both teams. And what's really interesting to me, and I said that a number of times now, what's really interesting for me about that game in particular is it felt like, compared to most Esports Towers games, they weren't really feeling each other out as more. They were more comfortable in their own skin. They were like, doesn't really matter what they're going to do. We're going to be confident going into this game. We're going to kind of take our offense. We're going to find a way to just push it down and push them into their place. And we're going to find a way to come out on top. And I think the Spiders did a really good job of managing being on that defensive end a little bit while also finding a way to pressure the offense constantly.
Yeah, also finding a way. So that balance between offense and defense, having too much of one or the other just kind of stagnates the game, doesn't it?
For sure, it does. And I think what you were saying earlier about communication with Boost, it's also a really huge thing, because if you're not communicating, you're not going to be telling each other, hey, I just went this direction, so that boost is going to be empty, or because I rotated this way, mini pads are going to be down, or I'm empty, I have no boost, or I'm full. And that a lot of times will help you make those decisions that enables that offense, right?
Yep. And boost pathing, hot comms, these are all important things to get shots on goal, which equal goals, which is really the win con here. 3v3 soccer, best of 3, single elimination, and a golden goal sudden death, which we saw a little glimpse of there at the end. Let's see if we can get any more of it out tonight, because we do like those tight games and we like intense goals right up at the end there. And yeah, don't get flashy, don't try to hog the ball, keep the win con in mind, and I'd love to see a little bit more, get back into it. Do you think we had really offensive or defensive geared teams here, or do you think that they're pretty balanced and they're doing well and they just need to rinse and repeat for this next one?
I feel like they're capable of defense, but they definitely came into both games with a game plan of offense.
Okay.
And I'm really excited to see if that shifts this time, or if the offense kind of just stays on, and maybe the Spiders put the pedal to the metal a little bit more, or maybe they play a little bit more defensively. It really depends on what they talked about in the minute before this game and after the last one.
Well, hopefully the Spiders talked a lot about taking this last security and really putting them over the edge, finishing it off early with a 2-0, and hopefully the Vipers talked about putting an end to that nonsense and bringing us to a 1-1. Toke with a quick hit on the goal, but it stopped immediately by a little jump over. Everybody kind of falling over each other here. A little double commit from the blue is not quite guarded, and that last second save just can't be there by one person that's not in the position to make it happen. So that is another point for the Spiders.
Yeah, defensive breakdown from the Vipers there. Both players kind of committing to a ball that none of them had any business going for to begin with, because they were so clearly beat, and that's why their goal went in. But I think what we should be looking for here for the Spiders is a lot more passing to go with that aggression, because that just adds that extra level of, okay, now we know we're playing faster, we're up a goal, we have the aggression to make this happen, let's make it even harder to predict. And I really like to see now Toke, for example, really looking to bang it off the wall, get it to his teammate, and find a way to work together to find the back of the net. And, a really bad flip from apparently Ja there. But it was responded to fairly well by Z.Baby, as the Vipers are finding their own play and stay at offense this time around. And just like I said last time, it still feels like it's pretty even. There's a lot of offense played on both sides. Vipers are holding their own, to say the least. And, Vipers scored first last time, and they didn't end up winning. So this game is definitely not even close to done yet.
Oh, not even almost. With 3.5 minutes on the clock here, it could go any way. Only 1 point on the board. It might seem like a big up, but 1 point in one round is easy to take over. We saw the last one just happen. Just like you said, winning the first point doesn't mean winning at all, but wow, it's off to a good start. The Vipers taking a point onto the Spiders there. Everyone on top of the ball with a nice little corner hit.
Yeah, and a really powerful and well-placed shot from the Vipers. It might have looked a little bit off because you hit it right towards the Spiders' defense, but you saw that both of them were either backwards or just kind of in a weird spot, so they had no way of saving it, no way of responding. This is a disaster.
Wow.
This is a defensive breakdown. I wish we could see that again, but it looked like there was just kind of some backflips, and maybe they rotated too far up to respond to that play.
Yeah, a little too deep with a little bit too much forward momentum. Kind of soared over them. They got almost... Ooh. Oh, my goodness. Spiders absolutely putting on the fire. They found the cheat codes. They're 3-1 now. Absolutely gliding, but, I mean, making goals that fast means you could lose goals that fast. We still have about 3 minutes on the clock here. Zydra looking to keep it going, but it's stolen right from out from under him.
Yeah, and I can't even chalk it up to necessarily the Spiders' offense. I mean, they're there and they're in the way, but it's definitely on the Vipers for those last 2 goals. Finding just the way to close the gap is a big deal right now, because even here, the nets are very nearly open over and over again. And it's just, your pressure doesn't mean anything for the Vipers if you can't actually make something of it, or you break down on defense far too often to make up for it to begin with.
Do you think this is a one person at a time positioning issue? Oh my goodness, an absolutely wide open goal. Speaking of positioning issues, Zydra just down dribbles it right into the goal.
Yeah, well, to answer your question, I honestly feel like there's a little bit of a communication error combined with being outpaced and not responding to it correctly, because it feels like 2 people, again here, 2 people are committed to a ball that they're definitely beaten to, when you really only need to commit that one. And I know we talked about it a little bit before the program started, how that first man, his main job is just finding a way to let them give up the ball. And to some extent, they're doing that, but the problem is that they're committing one too many players for it. And it's costing them these goals over and over again. And truth be told, outside of the goals, this game has been a really close game. It hasn't felt like the Vipers have been choking as much.
Yeah.
They haven't been gasping for air in their end. It's more felt like they're just not quite there on defense.
Yeah, those small changes can make big differences. You see Vipers looking to try to take it back, and they sure do. Just absolutely threading the needle between 2 Spiders players trying to chip up towards that ball and dig it out, but it's not going to happen. And 5-2 going in for the 50-50. A big spot towards the Spiders' goal, but they send it off into the corner. Papa Jeffy's looking to take it out, but it goes long. And yeah, no, that was just another zone control where 2 people moving towards the ball in different directions. Zoo Baby looking to take one on, but it doesn't happen. Dug out from underneath him. Zydra stealing it, sends it to the corner. Zoo Baby positioning up to try to maybe get a little pull from that, maybe chip it over. Continues to carry it right down past his teammates and almost past Gumi, but it doesn't happen. Goes straight up, so it stays on that side, but a little bit of a scramble forward as Gumi sets up in that 3rd man, getting ready to defend the goal from the back post, and then goes up for the offense with a good send. Tokei's ready to follow up on it. Solid positioning, but it's just barely chipped out right from out over top of him. Zoop Baby now with the ball. Zydra demos it right out from underneath him, and look at that send. That was a great setup between Papa Jeffy's and Zoop Baby.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I've been saying is the Vipers' offense is there. They're scoring goals. And, you know, as this game comes to a close, it's pretty hard to score 2 more goals in 30 seconds and actually make something happen.
Ooh.
But, I might get captured here.
You may have.
This game is far from over.
Almost still 30 seconds, and now they're just looking for one goal to bring them into a golden goal overtime fight for the 1-1 as they're trying to just tear themselves out of the net in this 3v3, coming so close.
And so I have to ask, in your opinion, what do you think they had to do to bounce back mentally? I mean, coming down that far early in this game, being that far behind, has got to be something that really weighs on you mentally. So
I think that's part of it.
What's the adjustment they have to make?
I think that adjustment is, you know, getting metacognitive about it. And if you stress out and you start getting caught in the spider's web here, everyone plays a little bit tighter. And as soon as, and there it goes. Looks like they could not quite get out of it there. That brings us to a victory for the Spiders. Man, it was close, though. A 4-5 on that last one, and the first one was very fair and up in the air as well.
Yeah, and it's really kind of interesting to see how both of these games, while so back and forth, were still 1-goal games.
Yeah.
I mean, with so much offense, you'd maybe expect there to be a lot more goals scored, and that's kind of what I'm curious about for this next game. Are they both going to sit back a little bit? Because even though the Spiders won, they had 4 goals scored on them. That's a lot of goals.
Yeah, I think, and what I was saying is it really just takes the communication and knowing that you got the other person's back. So you can only go it alone so far. Ultimately, if you want to increase your chances of success, you got to level up your teaming skills. We just saw in that last play the Vipers and Spiders. Spiders were doing just such a good job of giving the ball space, and they've come so far since the last time they were in the Rumble. Esports Tower has really taken the time to create teams of well-matched teammates. I'd like to do a shout-out to Coach Jake, and if those who've watching haven't checked out Esports Tower clubs, you should. It's a fast track to rank up. There we go. That's the first game of the Fennec group. What'd you think? I mean, I know we talked about it a lot. I think just having those comms active and knowing that your teammates got your back is good. And if everybody kind of scrambles to the ball, then it's not really going to happen. It ends up being messy. You end up with double commits. And anywhere you have too many people is somewhere else you don't have enough.
Yep. Yeah, and because if those 2 people fail, then suddenly you're stuck in a 1v3 as the 3rd man, right? So it's a really dangerous play to make. And if something doesn't go perfectly, if you don't get any wasted time at all, it'll just result in all those goals being scored on you super early. And so I have to hope for these games afterwards that the Vipers take a mental reset, deep breath, and they come into whatever they have next for next week just completely clear-minded and ready to go, because definitely this is something they're capable of. They were really close both games. It's just a matter of cleaning up those games as a whole, because when you think about it, those plays were made that made the Vipers come back close to the end. Those were pretty good plays.
Yeah.
They found a way to pressure the offense and find the back of the net, whereas if they had just stopped making those defensive errors that they made this time around, they could have seen a very different game and maybe even gone to a Game 3 here.
Yeah, well, hopefully they take that break well and get a lot of value out of it, really clear their mind and clear up their gameplay. And I think you guys could use a break as well. So that's our breakdown for the first game. Up next, we have the Vipers looking to turn things around against the Surge.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
And welcome back to this week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble. We're broadcasting to you from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. I don't know if you just saw it, but we've got some people back up there on the stage. There they are, doing great. We'll catch some of them later. But for now, let's get back to the Fennec Cup, where the Spiders just got off to a great start with a win. Now we're going to see if the Vipers can take on the Surge to see who can pick up their first win of the night between these two teams in the Fennec group. I'm your host, Greg Oldsoul Smith, and joining me to call all the action is Joey Tacky, right here on the desk. So, Joey, how do you feel that last game went? We talked about it a lot, but just post-break, I know this is a really fast-paced game, and you've got to stay on top of calls and on top of comms. And do you think there was a communication disconnect there because of the loss?
I'd argue it was something close to a communication disconnect. It's definitely possible to both be communicating, like yelling at the same time, I'm going for it, and then it's kind of hard. But what it comes down to, most of all, is even if you're not communicating perfectly, you can at least, whoever's behind you can use their eyes and say, hey, that guy's ahead of me. Like, I should give him priority over this play. And it just felt like no matter what it was a basic that they definitely could work on and definitely could probably fix up and have ready for whatever matches ahead of them. That way they can come out firing the next one and have that perfect offense and defense that kind of they were getting close to already.
Yeah, going back to basics and making sure you have everything down pat is definitely something to keep in mind at all times, and something Esports Tower can help us all out with. Speaking of which, we've been handing out a lot of scholarships to lots of players this season. Look at all of those numbers, 585 grand esports scholarships. Congrats, club players. We just want to take this moment to congratulate all the Esports Tower club members who have graduated from the esports clubs and have been offered scholarships across the country. Over the last 3 months, Esports Tower club members have received over $1.6 million in scholarship awards. These students have worked hard not only on their in-game play but academically and earned these scholarship opportunities. The players that receive these scholarships are talented, hardworking, and driven, and we could not be more excited and proud to see all the opportunities these players are getting. Goodness, I wish, and I say it every time, and I'll keep saying it every time, I wish this was around when I was in high school. This is just such an opportunity for all of these players to be getting into the sport early and to be getting that dedication on and to have that drive for college. So, yeah, it's good to see. And these games are not won on accident. Practice is not passive. You're going to have Doc's keys to the game, as we have right here for you in the arena. Doc's keys to the game in Rocket League, just letting you guys remind yourselves, are to create mistakes, punish the overcommits, and play walls better. A demo to the end goal. This is brought to you by Esports Tower. To score pro advice at esportstower.com. To improve your game sense, your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. An absolute fast track to ranking up, which the Surge and Vipers have been taking care of well. How much can you tell us about the Surge and or Vipers?
Well, like I said before, they're pretty aggressive teams from what I remember. And both of them have had what seems like some really good days. Even the losses seem to be done in style, to say the least. And I'm really excited to see if they have what it takes to bring it home today, or if they're just getting close to that over the mountain mark, or if they just need a little bit more time. either way, it's respectable because this game is hard. And like every other video game, you have to practice, practice, practice.
It is.
Take every loss with a grain of salt.
And grace. Graceful losses and aggressive wins. We love to see it. We're back with Papa Jeff, apparently John Zoot Baby this time playing off against Endercrafter, Twiz, and Tovi. Familiar names to be sure. ET Surge White is comfortable on the field. Tovi looking to chip it up to Endercrafter with a great ceiling flick. Goes quite a bit wide though. Tovi's looking to reconcile that shot. Papa Jeff takes control of it though, sending it down goal again wide. So Twiz is able to run it back to the front. A little bounce with Endercrafter, maybe a little bit too close to the goal, letting Tovi be the only one to defend. He does a great job with it though. Sends it to the corner and goes up for the corner, not quite there. Almost makes it into the goal, but centering back up, getting ready for another one. Has to keep it out of hands. Goes to the edge, and man, that was just not the play right there. What can you tell me about that?
Well, first thing I noticed was that Tove passed it across, which is fine.
Yep.
And then he followed it all the way across,
Kept
denying
walking.
his teammate
Yep.
of anything. And then he came back across once again and bumped into his teammate. So it just seems like a little bit of a disconnect there on the communication end, but definitely not something they can't get past. Like I said, it's one of those mistakes that you can. Ooh.
Look at that that dog pile for the ball. That was a little slow, a little close.
Yeah,
but
both teams are battling hard for this possession here.
They are arguing over the ball. Man, looking for that intimate relationship. Tire on ball here. Twiz sending it up over the Vipers team, and Endercrafter looking to take it, but goes a little bit back. The back passes are scary. Twiz is comfortable with it though and gets ready for an off-the-wall carry on down to mid. Apparently Jaw doesn't like that as much, and Zoot Baby helps him out with it, looking to send it back over. Endercrafter offering this 50-50 that he takes for himself. Tove absolutely swept on by Twiz, who takes a demo, gets himself sent to the ceiling, so apparently Jaw is able to take the ball, sends it back over. Twiz with a valiant effort to prevent that, only sends it sideways for Tove to get ready to accept it from Papa Jeffy, prevent this corner haul, try to get it out from over the goal. Oh, a couple offensive pushes from two players in the Vipers, one of them punished and the other denied. We're going to have a spawn in back after that demo, and it is back to some 50-50 over the goal here. Wow, such aggressive gameplay. Do you think we have really offensive geared teams like we expected we would?
I would say so far. It feels like there's a double commit that did end up being a goal. But it definitely feels like right now, especially Surge White, are kind of in the stage of Hail Mary, regardless of the consequences a little bit. And to be fair, they haven't been punished too hard for it, obviously, because they don't have a goal on them. But a lot of double commits on the Vipers' end, and it's kind of worrisome because if a single pass gets over their head, it's kind of the end.
Yep. And I know we talked about this earlier, the difference between Hail Mary goals and having direction and drive to your shot, making every save a pass. There's another demo which lets the ET Surge White really gang up on this ball. And gang up, indeed, they do that. Almost triple commit. I'm surprised there wasn't a collision as one flips over the other. Sends it back into their own corner here. Just unable to really straddle around that. Endercrafter digs it out pretty well, but apparently Jaw's ready to force it back over towards the goal. And apparently Jaw almost had a follow-up to that, sending it in. A slow roll, and Twiz has to move into the pile to prevent that. Endercrafter with a backflip to get it out of the goal again, and everyone is just playing so close. There's not wide and fast rotations aiming for it. They're kind of just wanting to stand in front of where it could go. Luckily, they're not punished for it, and retaining that point lead, they send it back over and towards the corner. Twiz with a good follow-up doesn't quite make it. Endercrafter looking to do the same, but it goes sideways. Papa Jeffy and apparently Jaw looking to take it back out of their side. Tovi doesn't want that to happen, sends it back over into the corner and a demo right into the goal, but not towards into the goal. We still seem to be in fought over here, a little 50-50 action, trying to get it centered, but in the other direction. Twiz preventing it, Endercrafter following.
Yeah, definitely. We've kind of established on the offensive end for the Surge White now. They seem to have kind of, as I say that, we're rotating out, but it is such the nature of the game.
Yep.
But it definitely feels like Surge White has had a really easy time kind of forcing the Vipers back, and that could be a little bit of a result of their careless offense and their careless aggression. But to some extent, they're doing a really good job of covering what are the most important angles to cover. Like right there, even off a double commit and a demo, they're still available. They're able to make that save. That third man is there to keep the offense intact, and right, just like that, we're right back onto that orange or that Viper's end. And ooh, I gotta hand it to that nice demo.
Yeah,
honestly.
that was what a pinch right there.
got him super easy.
Now with a 2-0 lead with only 30 seconds on the clock, I won't say that we haven't seen it tonight. So the game is not quite over, but it's coming to a close. Zoot Baby trying to pry it out from the hands of Twiz TV, has to turn away. It's chipped away from Twiz TV, and Endercrafter's looking to get ready for a little defense action here. Twiz playing offensive on the defense, though, looking to send it out, and Tove loves the idea. Goes for the corner, is able to center it up, but there's nobody to take it, so Papa Jeffy just pries it right back out, starting to send it back up to the other side. Apparently, Jaw comes in for it, but that's 0. And there's goal. Well done. Anything you really appreciate from the winning team there?
Well, I guess I appreciate the confidence going into it. Kind of what goes with that Hail Mary on the offensive end is feeling, okay, I got a good play. I'm going now, regardless of the consequences, like I said before. So I appreciate the confidence. I really like seeing the confidence. It feels like that's so far been the theme of this week compared to other weeks where they were maybe just feeling each other out, kind of like Artie would mention. But I kind of feel like they need to take at least one tiny step back and communicate a little bit more, because while that first 3 minutes kind of felt like they kind of had control of the play, it was really, really messy. And so if they don't make an adjustment, what the Vipers do, this game is definitely swinging in the direction of the Vipers.
Yeah, I think it's all about accommodation. A lot of esports is, and those two different kind of confidences you just brushed up on. The self-confidence to say we can back pass a little bit, we need to spread out a little bit, they're not going to have an easy shot on goal that we won't have the momentum to save. And the self-confidence of saying, I could take this out from my teammate and do better. And you have to know to back off a little bit, communicate some more, let your teammates carry what they can, and really just space out, cooperate on the ball here, get those good demos, bump to commit, all the basics. Anything else you want to add before we go driving right in the next one?
I mean, keep up the offense. Offense is fun to watch, and it's really exciting to see what these teams can do.
Yeah, we've got some solid offense from both the Surge and the Vipers. Let's see if they can keep it up. Vipers looking to rebound from that opening loss to the Spiders, and Surge looking for a quick win after being knocked out in round 1 from week 1.
Yeah, right off the bat, we're getting a lot of offense here from the Vipers, and it almost feels like they're trying to bring it back to the way they had it with the Spiders, where they just keep the ball on the offensive end the best they can and try to force these open nets or force free shots that they don't usually get kind of naturally, which I think is a very plausible and aggressive play style. But you also have to understand that if you're going to commit that much to a play, it has to be a successful play, because if it doesn't go well, then it results in stuff like this, where Surge White is now just shoving down the end of the field kind of freely. And right here, if this doesn't go in, then again, see how open it is? They get another chance to just take it all the way down the field.
Yeah, it seems like when those cards are on top of each other, it's like they're playing as one person. You kind of lose a man on field, and they really impede each other's playing.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, that's the biggest reason why this strategy for the Vipers is working so far, regardless of how well it goes, is because Surge White is kind of squandering a lot of their opportunities to just have open nets. 3 guys for the Vipers kind of committed downfield with not a lot of space left on the defensive end. And still, Surge White, once they get ball possession, can't find a way to find at least downfield. But once they get down there, you can see players like Tove and Twiz do a really good job of just rebounding it over and over and forcing Surge White to have kind of a reaction immediately.
Ooh, Zoot almost there for the follow-up, but not quite. Apparently Jaw, and there we go, Papa Jeffy with the 3rd. That was 3 rebounds or shots on goals there to get that, and the rotations were a little bit tight. Saw a little bit of backpedaling, but they were able to score a goal, setting them ahead on the path to a 1-1 in the best of 3 here. Can the Vipers keep it going? ET Surge doesn't want them to, but wow, they were totally packed up there. Go for a little split. It seems like I almost feel sometimes like they're all playing alone on the field. They don't respect each other's zone of control as much, and that's not necessarily double or triple commit, but wow, that was pretty open, and ET Surge White's Endercrafter takes a point, bringing us to a 1-1 in this point 2. The 50-50, real shallow. Twiz looking to take it, but Zoo Baby just demos him from behind. Endercrafter and Tove have to follow it up and work together to get it back downfield here. Tove, aware of that, centers it up for the player, but there's nothing there to take it, and Zoot Baby has it free in the corner, looking to scoop it out. Not quite going to have the momentum, though. Endercrafter comes soaring in to bounce it. Twiz facing off against Papa, and then Zoot as well against his team. Goes for a little 50-50, and it goes into the orange side. Jaw looking to keep it there, but a quick demo sends him out. Tove letting it roll here. Looking to center it up. Almost able. Endercrafter so close. That goalpost just not working out for them. They did not pay that goalpost enough before the game, and apparently Jaw looking to score or at least send it in close. It is chipped out from there. Another Hail Mary pass just back and forth. They don't really have a lot of drive and direction when they're looking for these saves, but sometimes they're tight ones. Endercrafter with a good one out to the side. Papa Jeffy looking to send it back out that corner. There was no one really to take it, so it goes to Tove. Another demo drops it right into the goal.
Yeah, and now he's seen 3 goals scored in such a small span of time, realistically. But definitely, I'd like to see the Vipers kind of get a grip more on their defense and have intention with where they hit the ball. Because it feels like Surge White is able to hold down their defense simply by pressuring the ball over and over again after they hit it. And that's because every time they pass downfield, it's kind of to no one.
Do you think ET Surge White is making accommodations to the gameplay style of Vipers? Jaw with a little sneaky there, sends it back over, but Tope digs it out. Just wanted to highlight that.
I think to some extent they're definitely making accommodations because, you know, counterplay and punishing mistakes is a key part of any sport or game you play. So I think there's definitely an element of that, but I think there's also just kind of Surge White's kind of gotten used to being able to abuse that midfield and being able to abuse the fact that most teams haven't quite figured out how to connect perfectly all the time, which is a really hard skill to learn. But once you've got it down, it makes it really hard to force teams into in a defensive end.
Tove winning that air fight has a free goal to just slide in there and choose his left corner from his dish of options. Bringing ET Surge White to a 3-1 here with only a minute on the clock. Vipers to make 2 points in a minute is not unheard of, not even unreasonable. So let's see if they can pull some tricks out of the bag and start moving along.
Yeah, definitely impressive so far. And honestly, even though the Vipers are down, they had some really good plays, and that one goal scored for them is super, super exciting to watch with the passes that they made and the pressure that they kind of forced down Surge White. But at the end of the day, Surge White has just been doing a much better job of keeping the pressure on, even if it doesn't go perfectly the first time, and that's the main separator here.
Right towards the goal there, almost. All the Vipers looking to corral it back in, but it's not quite there. Looking to line it up in Endercrafter with a great aerial view on that ball. Following it out now, Twiz, ooh, just allows the double commit to get punished right over that and just lets it roll on the floor, playing for time, bringing them up. ET Surge White, that is 2. Surge, after that tough week 1 rumble, losing in round 1, actually got back on track with a win in this series. Excellent play.
Yeah, and it was kind of funny to see right at the end there, Twiz going for the double fake.
Yeah.
On the double commit. That's, you know, that's part of those reasons. Part of the reasons that you have to be careful about those double commits is because it just builds panic, and then nobody's really thinking about the play. And if one person gets faked, it's not the end of the world. But if 2 do, and Twiz would have pushed down the field, now it's a 1v3.
Yeah, and one with a quick change would have moved the other player. Well, I am glad that he got that one out there because he's being seen by expert college recruiters. If you want to be seen by expert college recruiters, talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, game producers. You can join the club. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights, and with our featured rumbles, recruiters are taking notice too. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro or land a collegiate scholarship. Now, the Surge have taken down the Vipers and set up grand final showdown against the Spiders. Both the teams looked really impressive in their game so far tonight, and we will see who comes out on top next. You guys enjoy a little break from us to you. Drink lots of water, and we will see you back for a new game very fresh very soon.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Welcome back to your broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble. We're broadcasting to you from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. It's time for our Fennec Grand Finals. The Spiders and the Surge look pretty impressive in their wins and now face off to see who will be on top of the Fennec group in Week 2. I'm your host, Old Soul, and joining me to call all the action is Tacky. Tacky, we saw a little bit of some messy play, honestly, from both teams back there. Anything in general to say? Just loosen up a little bit, spread out, understand your zones, all the basics?
Well, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
A lot of the times double commits, which is kind of the main theme of that last series, double or triple commits. A lot of the times they're a result of one of two different problems, either being overconfident or not communicating enough, and being too passive in that element. I would argue is probably because of the overconfidence. Confidence has a place for sure, but I think it's really important that they take a deep breath and they at least use their eyes a little bit to say, okay, even if I do call this, there's someone in front of me and it's currently his job, I'll wait till he says that he's not going or something like that, and then I can decide to make a play from there.
Yeah, but we did see a lot of confidence from the teams, which is important to have as well. And seeing new players be confident to play with each other is important. And each team did a good job of punishing the other team for making those overcommits or taking advantage of those demos. So we did see some quality gameplay. You and I aren't the only ones who know what we're talking about. Doc has some keys to the game to help us out. Doc wants you guys to know what will really get a foot in the game in Rocket League is to create mistakes, punish those overcommits, play walls better, and demo to the end goal. Doc's keys to the game are brought to you by Esports Tower. You can score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. And what a fast track to rank up. These kids have been doing fantastic over the course of the weeks. We have Spiders and Surge coming at you pretty soon here. We've talked a lot about changes that teams can make. Do you see anything exceptional that we're catching from both teams? Anything that's really being done right here? Anything that's being drilled?
It feels like a lot of offense has been a focus.
That's
for the
true.
coaches.
Yeah, we have seen quality offense on every team that's played tonight.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that statement. And I would say that it feels like maybe after the first 3 or 4 weeks of they've been doing this, that they're starting to get into this position where they're like, okay, now I know what I'm capable of. I know all these players. I know what they're capable of. And I know that I am or am not one of the better players here. I'm going to go into this game, and I'm going to feel confident. I'm going to try to put every ball that gets to me into the back of the net.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see these players really develop kind of a personality to their gameplay.
Yeah, really manifest destiny on that ball. Get in there, get those goals, find the back of the net. Well, I am ready to kick off our Fennec Grand Finals between the Spiders and the Surge. Both teams have been looking pretty impressive in their games and will now face off to see who will be our Week 2 Fennec champion, the Spiders and the Surge. And, man, look at those great little pictures they get.
Yeah, Surge White is...
Ooh.
Oh. Right
A
off the
quick
bat.
one. Excellently done. Right out the 50-50, a little struggle right in front of the goal, and it goes in. A quick goal from the Spiders. 4:45 still on the clock, and ET Surge White is got to fight for themselves here. Watch out. We do have Tokay and Tovi on the field. Don't be too confused. I know that almost caught some of you guys.
Yeah, and kind of this game has already been a manifestation of what we were just talking about, and that offense being so prevalent and so fast in these games today. And I think it's really interesting to see how these teams are kind of deciding for themselves how they want to play the game now. Now that they're learning all these basics, and they can kind of branch out and decide to either play, okay, we're going to play offensively, we're going to play defensively, we're going to look for these kind of plays, we like going for passing plays, well, you like going for solo plays, maybe you play third. It's really interesting to see them develop play styles and really get all they can out of Esports Towers, and now take the basics to the next level by applying themselves to it. Yeah,
just like you said, developing personalities and developing themselves not into just a player of the game, but a game player, and being that, you know, being a presence on the field as who they are and what their abilities are and what they can do for the team. Speaking of which, Tovey's looking to help his team out by chipping it up and stealing it out from 2 players this team, letting it go low. Comfortable playing on the grass. Remember, you're quite a bit faster boosting on the grass than midair. Endercrafter, comfortable in the air, sends it up into the corner for a quick check. A nice bounce out. Tovi's not quite able to dunk it in, though. There were 2 people right on the post to prevent it. Boomy, being one of them, steps out of his post position to try to get it out of there, but it's not quite going to happen. Some air fighting to prevent that goal. Tovi looking to square it back up. Endercrafter trying to tip to make that happen. Zydra looking to dig it out of there, preventing any more shots on goals, but it's not going to happen. Twiz gets another one, and Endercrafter with a follow-up makes it happen. Surge White, that's their first goal. I believe that brings us to a 1-1. There it is, with 3 minutes flat on the clock.
Yeah, and already this feels like such a, not necessarily a change of pace, but a change of efficiency pace to this game for sure, because there's a lot more working together as a team. Felt like a lot less double commits in the last series. Yeah. And it feels like these teams are really playing kind of to their basics again, and not necessarily defensively minded or kind of hesitant. More so that they're just kind of looking for each other and kind of finding ways to use those basics to the best of their abilities.
And it's interesting because when the cars are moving this quick, position and speed via time have such a trade-off. So when you have a double commit, just having the person in back slow their pacing down a little bit, all of a sudden you have an offender and someone backing it up for the rebound, which is a huge position to have, right? You can have good rotation, is so close to having a triple commit. They just need to pace it out a little bit more and be more comfortable with that distancing. Tokay, very comfortable, moving right in for another goal. The Spiders, 1 minute down. 1 full minute for that goal. Can they make another one and really secure themselves up, getting the first in this best of 3? Or can ET Surge White take the next minute to score a goal? Let's see, Endercrafter looking to pull it out from that side. Hail Mary over, but it's not quite going to happen. Gumi with a very gentle tap prevents it to go, but it doesn't get very far before it's back to the Spider's mouth. Zydra and Gumi looking to co-opt this down the field. Tokay getting back and in position for a follow-up as Zydra goes on, but it's so wide it doesn't happen, and Gumi's position doesn't help. He digs it back out from under, but it gets demoed, and the demo returns. Wow, darn near field wipe. Twiz looking to send it back down. Zydra almost bumps it back into the goal there, but luckily the top bar prevents it. There is a demo in the goal, but it doesn't get a lot of value because we're so deep from it. Gumi sending it in, but there's just too much defense, and it goes back to the half pretty quick. We do see a lot of chipping here back and forth over the half. A lot of good offense and a lot of decent defense. Toby looking to set it up. Tokay trying to prevent it. Zydra comes in to sweep it out of there. Gumi trying to play off that, but it's not there, and at the same time a demo happens. Endercrafter hoping to follow it up, gets deep in the net, and it's not there. Twiz sends it over, and it goes wide. Zydra.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because what felt like kind of the play style of the week with these last 2 series, being that a lot of offense was played, the midfield was kind of just forfeited as whoever had possession at the time. It's really refreshing to see these teams kind of battle for it a little bit more and spread out, find ways to just kind of make every little thing difficult for the other team. Make sure there's always someone challenging, make sure that that person challenging has an out to someone else if it goes badly, and make sure there's also someone prepared for if it goes well.
preparation indeed. Whether it goes well or not, got to have those people ready to back it up. Like Twiz setting it up for someone else. Tovi looking to capitalize on that, but Endercrafter wanted it as well, and now there's no one to have it. You have 3 people in the corner there. Zydra in the back post realizes this is an offensive switch and goes to steal it from Endercrafter. Gumi quick to it though, doesn't quite happen, and it goes awry. And there it is. Spiders 2 against 1, taking that first point. Much cleaner gameplay. I enjoyed that. They were spaced out a little bit more. We had some good fights, good follow-ups. I really appreciated that after a shot on goal, it wasn't just a Hail Mary back to the other side, and it wasn't single shot offense. It was more methodical offense, and we saw a lot more follow-ups and a lot more 2 or 3 shots on goals with good rotations.
Yeah, definitely agree. It felt a lot more like cleaner Rocket League that time around. It felt a lot more like these teams are kind of mimicking those professional play styles to some extent, and they're doing a really good job of kind of having their own play style mixed in with what is clearly the basics of the game, and just using the best of their coaching, their knowledge up until that point to force pressure, but not in a way that sacrifices defense.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, you've got to have that professionality and that good intuition, because we are in the grand finals for the Fennec here, and that's the first point. I'm ready to get into the second one if you are. These teams are doing pretty solid with each other. We've seen, you know, some decent cooperation that we just talked about, but it doesn't happen on accident. Surge has had some solid scrims this week, and coaches think the team is really improving in comms and rotations, and we're seeing that here ourselves over the course of just this game.
Yeah, I think it's very clear that comms and rotations have improved, and obviously, from what I've seen from these teams before, they've not been too far off, but they've definitely still needed a little bit of work.
Yeah,
and it's really impressive to see the changes that these players have made and how capable they are with the right hands.
Tovi in the face of danger, just can't keep up to it. Twiz in the full reverse, looking to get it out of there, but it doesn't quite happen. Tove's got to step up and dig it out, but Tokay doesn't want that to happen. Endercrafter's sending it over him, and there's more follow-up from Gumi, and then Zydra. Tokay's not quite in position to take that, looking like he was going for the deep boost, and it gets all the way back into their own goal from a good shot by Twiz. Twiz is actually a new player to ET in general, but already impressing the coaches with offensive skill set. He could be a great goal scorer anywhere on the map, as we've just seen. What a deep chip from him that goes straight towards the orange. Tokay trying to fight off this good play from Twiz as he shoots for a second one in a row. Endercrafter looking to follow it back, send it over, and it just drops right out of the air there. We had 3 people soaring for it. Zydra holding it in the corner here against Twiz. Twiz a little bit behind Endercrafter, looking to chip it out back up to Twiz, who sends it up the wall. Gumi looking to steal it out from that position, but it's not there, and he guides it right down. Tokay with good, ready third-man positioning is able to swing out and send it back over to the halfway point before Endercrafter chips it back over. Some more fighting in the corner here, and a lot of ping-pong back and forth. We get close to the goal sometimes, but these offensive teams do not want it on their turf for very long, and if the hot potato is serious, there's a quick demo, keeping it hot indeed. Tovi again in the corner, just trying to shovel it out with Gumi hot on his tail for it. Tokay comes sweeping in to steal it, and a little bit of 2 people on the ball. Well, card-to-ball ratio is not quite on point there, but they don't get punished for it. Send it over to the goal where 2 are ready to defend, including Gumi, sending it back to that corner, looking to roll it out, where Twiz, absolutely a rock in his shoe, just stops in there, lets him fall over, and they have possession again. All the Spiders are pulling it out from their own goal. Tovi tries to get in, but is absolutely blocked. Twiz looking for a good shot, and Tokay was ready to solidify it, but the save is there. Zydra sending it back over. Endercrafter watching Gumi's play here. Twiz up for another save, and look at that activity feed. Twiz is all over the ball, but not as much as Zydra is. Zydra sending it in. A shot on goal made goal, pulling us to 1-1 with 2:25 on the clock.
Yeah, and you can just see that offensive pressure from the Spiders finally kind of gaining a grip on the play. Those passing plays over and over again, the resets to keep it there, really paying off for the Spiders team and really linking up with themselves, to say the least.
Twiz taking a good 50, sending it over, and Endercrafter sweeping it out from Gumi. You've got to go to the ball or the defender comes up on you for it. Tove also the same issue. Gumi comes out to take it. Tove's ready to watch Twiz pop it up. Endercrafter is as well. Sends it to that corner. Ooh, but we had one ready for it, so it's met with a little bit of contention here and there. But an excellent dunk by Tove, pulling us up another point for the Surge.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I have to hand it to Endercrafter this game so far. I've been really impressed with his with his midfield presence. He's done a really good job of either finding demos or just getting past one or two people or just winning 50s over and over in the midfield.
Yeah, it feels
enabling
like
his team to find the back.
yeah. Enabling the team just by having that good position is good value. You know, having someone up the highway is always a good spot to be. Zydra bumping against Twiz, and bump is the name of the game here as we get another demo real quick in this round, but it's not quite enough, and Surge take another point. Endercrafter doing excellent there. Some little flips, a little bit of wave dash just to show off there.
Yeah, and it feels like Surge White's kind of running away with the game now. As you know, a 4-1 lead is pretty substantial. Might not feel like it by comparison, but a 4-1 lead is pretty substantial. 3 goals is a lot of goals to score up on someone.
It is, man, they're just deep in the mouth of the net there. So close to taking another one, and Endercrafter liked that position. He goes for a nice waterfall in, but doesn't quite get the rebound. Twiz looking to prevent this goal, just veers it a little bit wide, not quite to the corner, bouncing it back midfield, wants to take it back to the goal. Tove with a good setup, absolutely bumped by Gumi with the great positioning, and another one to follow up behind just in case it didn't go. Gumi taking it in, and that's a good demonstration of your saves having direction and purpose. The Spiders are not going to go down without a fight here. ET Surge White looking to absolutely secure and prevent these speed goals from putting them back to an overtime. Gumi and Zydra digging it out of the goal there. On the half, Endercrafter with a great turn. Twiz can't quite back it up, and it goes to the half. Coming close, only 15 seconds on the clock. And it's almost pretty sure now Zydra just looking to grab that extra point.
Yeah, and if you're the Spiders right now, you have to already be thinking about that mental reset. You can't get too in your feelings about it, you know, because we're going into a game 3, so the stress is there for sure. Who's going to run away with this game? And you've got to just take a mental reset, talk to your coach, deep breath, and go back to the basics.
Indeed, indeed. Well, if you want to be seen by expert college recruiters, talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, and game producers, then you can join the club. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights, and with our featured rumbles, recruiters are taking notice too. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro or land a collegiate scholarship. Yeah, so I believe we'll be looking into a game 3 here as we just had a 1-1. Those Vipers taken 4 over that 1 point. We will take a quick bathroom break real quick just to give you guys some water, really get into the headspace. Our players should have a nice break to really get into it. You think it'll be pretty intense here. Grand finals for the Fennec group, 1-1. Absolute, well, I wouldn't say an absolute landslide, but we had a real push one way and a real push the other way. They should be going head-to-head on this last one.
Oh, I'm expecting it to be real tense. You know, even that first game, it felt a little bit like a landslide as they started to get a grip. But it definitely seemed like, you know, only a 1-goal lead. Definitely could have gone either way. And I think the same kind of ring true regardless of the scoreline for this one as well, because it kind of felt like they ran away with it right at the end and not necessarily even just a cutaway. Okay, yeah. Let's get straight on into it. Here's ET Surge White against the Spiders on their last bout. Let's see how long they can drag it out. Endercrafter wants to put a quick end to it with a shot on goal. Tove looking to follow it up, but it goes a little bit wide. Twiz wants that as well, and this follow-up, it just seems like I get to say each player's name once the rotation is there. They are set up here. Endercrafter looking to follow it down, some extra aerial play. Toke slaps it out from underneath him, sending it to Zydra. Zydra looking to follow back up on it, and Gumi is ready for it. Tove is on the receiving end, though, and wants to get it back over Gumi. Back over Toke. Doesn't quite happen. Endercrafter's got to have the positioning up to Tove. Looking to actually follow it himself, fight against Hydra here, sends it center, but Gumi wants it center too. Sending it back to the other corner. It is an intense fight back and forth between these players here, but the feel is a little bit stronger. It's a little bit more together, and they're sharing it all a little bit more straddling the field here, owning the different thirds of the ball. Zydra right underneath. Didn't even see him, steals underneath and sends it back over. Twiz looking to take that center from Tove, but is bumped right out of the way, and Toke takes it.
with a nice demo right there in the corner, squaring off a few players. Endercrafter ready to take this goal, or at least a shot on with a quick bump. Goes off, and there's such a good setup for Twiz, but it's a little bit wide. A third player coming in the bounce, trying to go for it, but it doesn't happen. And Tokay, another demo off, which sends it to the other side. Now Twiz, Tove, and Endercrafter have to prevent from getting in this goal, and goodness, that was close. Gumi wants to see it again, and Tokay sets it up for him. Going wide and coming in for a swing. Goes a little bit higher than he's comfortable for, though, so right in front of him, he's able to send it down, but Tove is ready on the receiving end to prevent that. Gumi looking to follow up on his own shot, not quite wide enough, but Zydra is, with a great follow-up, bringing us up a point for the Spiders, burning almost a minute and a half, or more than, with only 3:12 on the clock here. ET Surge White need another point to keep this full tie.
Yeah, and you know, right off the bat, really fun start to the game. A lot of offense from both ends, and a lot of pressuring from both ends. But at the end of the day, the Spiders just ended up making one less mistake on defense, and it ended up causing a lead to head the way of the Spiders. But if you're Surge White, you're definitely not out of this. You've scored more than enough to keep this game going. And I'm really excited to see if they can keep it up, or if someone's getting breaks sooner or less, and we'll see 3 or 4 goals scored at once. And I have to say, that was a great play. That seems like the highlight of this game so far. Is backboard, backboard, backboard. Passes off the backboard, steals off the backboard, centers off the backboard. And right there, we just see a great pass off the backboard unanswered, so it's an easy shot to take for Surge White. Yeah,
some quality just setting it up for yourself. That backboard can play as a 4th man, as a hindrance, or in this case, as a help. Use the field to your advantage. It seems like there aren't a lot of elements to this field, but that ceiling and those walls and that backboard are your friends if you let them. Zydra looking to chip it up off said wall. Endercrafter stealing it from him. Sends it straight to Gumi, and Tokay and Tove want a piece of it first, though. Eventually it gets to Gumi's plate. He takes a bite by sending it rolling down. Look at that air roll. Smooth right to the half, but it doesn't get very far before Endercrafter looks to set it up for himself. Tokay knows where he wants to take it, sending it back over the half, and look at this ping pong as Tove sends it back over. Nobody wants it in their own goal, but they just do not have a defensive comfortability or an offensive push around that defense to get all the way into the goal, so it won't find back a net, and we'll just keep looking at this 1-1 on a 1-1 in this best of 3. Ooh, close again, and Gumi with a great opening. Doesn't quite get it, goes a little bit narrow, and they're looking to follow up and just keep it on that side. Gumi reaching for it, is able to chip it over, but there's not a lot of protection there. Endercrafter and Tove have the space and take it out. Twiz already on the offense, but it's not quite going to have it. It has to go defense as Zydra's chipping it back up over him. A little close to the goal, a little close to home. Endercrafter has to get it out, but it's not there. That follow-up off the backboard is too good. That backboard is not being a friend for one team and is really helping out the other. I think they bribed him. We're looking at a 1-2 with Spiders taking the up. Only a minute on the clock to make a difference. Do you think they can do it?
I think they definitely can. We have more than enough time. Both these teams have played really impressively so far, but I think at the end of the day, you have to wonder if Surge White is going to start mixing it up, if they're going to keep going for backboard stuff, or if they're going to start going for the midfield plays. There hasn't been a lot of solo plays from either team, and I'd be excited to see a little bit of solo plays. You need to mix it up to some extent. Solo plays have, you know, a very low likelihood of actually working out, but it is something you need to consider just to make the defense guess a little bit more.
Wow, and look at that. Spiders did not like the idea of giving the other team a whole minute to score a goal, so they brought in a little bit of a confidence boost with another one. Now they can play comfortably at a 3-1 with only 37 seconds on the clock. Zydra looking to really secure it. Just a vacuum tight win here. Gumi agrees, sending it up, trying to get it over Tove, but it's a little shallow, and Tove trying to pry it out from the goal there. Endercrafter and Twib definitely don't want it in their goal. Not another time. Zydra doesn't want it back there either, and we see this chip back and forth. These sends, just people scrambling for the ball, trying to get it back out. And look at that. Great disruption there by Tove, sending it sideways. A little bit of people up on top of each other. We got some adjustment there. Zydra keeping it high, so Tokay can send it back out onto that side of the field. Twiv doesn't want that, and these double commits just flipping over, just trying to get it back down into the ground so they can finish the game off, and they sure do with touchdown. That's a 3-1 finish for the third. We went full 3 rounds there. ET Spiders are your win for tonight. Congratulations to the Spiders on winning that Fennec bracket. But we're not done yet. We've got a show match between the Mammoths and Lynx coming up next. So We'll send you guys for a quick water break, that water break that we promised a while ago.
Yeah, and I really liked watching this round for sure. And Spiders were new to me at least.
Yep, as me as
and
well.
it was really exciting to see these teams come out and kind of young gun it to some extent. And it kind of felt like they worked out the kinks the farther they went along.
Definitely
but
so.
They definitely still held their own in every single game, obviously, because they got to as far as they did, which is they won the whole thing.
Yep.
But it was really impressive to see them make adjustments throughout every game, and it was impressive to see them come out in the last game with some confidence while also playing defensively.
Yeah. And I like you touching up on that progression there because they started out a little shallow, a little bit over each other, but the cooperation was there, and they did a good job pulling it all together and took the Fennec title. So we will be back with that show game. You guys enjoy. See you in a bit.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back to the Esports Tower Rumble broadcast. We're coming to you live from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. If you thought we were done, you were sorely mistaken. Congratulations to the Spiders on winning the Fennec bracket, but we've got plenty of esports to go, plenty of Rocket League in the pouch. Up next, we've got a little show match between two Esports Tower teams as the Lynx and the Mammoths face off. I'm your host, Greg Oldsoul Smith, and tonight with me on the desk is Joe Tacky. Joe, how are you feeling so far? Are you ready to get into this?
Oh, more than ready. I'm really excited to see what both teams have.
Yeah. How much do you know about the Lynx so far? I don't think I've seen the Lynx play a whole lot, though. The Mammoths are, well, they're old school. They've been around.
Yeah, they have. The Mammoths are well known to me at this point. The Lynx, I'm not as well known on. they may have crossed paths a couple times, to my understanding, but as far as I know, I don't know anyone on that team. But I expect big things from both teams because, you know, this is Esports Towers.
Definitely.
Every team comes out and plays really well, and it's really impressive to see what they
as
got.
we just saw from them. We have the little spring shuffle on the team, so people, they know what they need to do, and we have these teams specially curated. These are working well together, and we're seeing good changes and good progression in these teams, even just tonight. But that doesn't happen on accident. You got to know your rules. You got to follow Doc's keys to the game. In Rocket League in particular, that's creating mistakes, punishing them over commits, playing the walls better, and demoing to the end goal. These keys are brought to you by Esports Tower, where you can score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. Now, the Lynx versus the Mammoths with those Esports Towers keys from Doc in their pocket. They can't be fought. They can't be beat. They've got it down. This is an easy win now. They've got everything they need.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get into it. I know the Mammoths are classic. We've seen them a lot of play from them, though it could be shuffled up a little bit. Those team names aren't always completely indicative of who is on them, what's going on here. The Lynx with the beautiful PFP. Getting into it, we see Endercrafter. I feel like I've heard of him before. Protato, we know lots of Protato. And wow, look at that early goal. Mr. Electric 0 point and Crazy Cat defending against an early goal from the Mammoths, who also have Not Earth. And we've seen lots of Not Earth as well.
Yeah, some familiar faces here and some kind of newer ones, but it's really interesting already to see the Mammoths kind of just pop off. And it wasn't even necessarily a mistake, from the Lynx, but it is interesting to see kind of them just fill out their own shoes to some extent, and Not Earth even going for his own kind of air dribble there right off the bat.
Ooh, a quick little demo right up in front of the goal there. Endercrafter watching it. Got to be on that defense. Ooh. And preventative on the double commits here, we do see the person in back slowing down and they see the other one go in for it, but they're still playing a little bit tight, both teams, and wow, Protato was close to a shot on goal there. Another shot on goal, very close. Endercrafter, oh my gosh, just so close. Has got to prevent that ball from getting in, and Crazy Cat looking to dig it out and take the 50-50 center back up, maybe even go for a goal, but it's chipped out from him. 0 point looking for a shot, goes wide. Not Earth trying to take it out of his zone. Crazy Cat kind of liked where it was, though, and look at that shot. That was a nice little skew right over the player's sideways shot, 45 from the other third.
Yeah, definitely a lot of scary situations for both teams, but especially, I would argue, the Mammoths. A couple balls that they kind of tried to clear across the front of their net, which is never a great idea.
Yep.
And some moments like where Endercrafter kind of has to make these really weird back saves because it just got over both his teammates and he has to kind of fight for scraps on control of the ball. But definitely not something they can't work out. And maybe it's just those first game jitters to some extent.
Yep,
or maybe it's because these players individually don't always play together. It's hard to say. But it's definitely not something that they can't figure out because they're all kind of trained similarly.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, they're probably just trying to get the N64 controllers all warmed up before they get real deep into it. Testing the length of the other player's glove here. And wow, demo after demo here. Clearing the field. Crazy Cat and Mr. Electric looking to send it in for another one, and they sure do with 0 point on the tail. Mr. Electric taking one for the Lynx.
Yeah, and he must have, Orange Defender must have not had any boost there because it didn't even look like he made an attempt at that ball. But, I mean, to some extent, it kind of feels like the Lynx are kind of running with, that was
tragic.
Yeah, that was a fated mistake, to say the least.
Oh, man, that had potential. Going for a little run it back. Potato chips it back up to that goal. Not going to be there, though. 0 point looking to dig it out. Man, I've heard of own goals, but self-saves, that's rough.
Yeah,
that's all right, though. Not something that will be too detrimental. They can definitely fix it all, do it all again.
I mean, as long as it doesn't go all the way in, there's still plenty of game to play. But basically, like I was saying before, it feels kind of like the Lynx have control over this game right now, and that the Mammoths need to make some serious adjustments in order to keep up here, because right now the Lynx are kind of just running away with it.
Yeah, you said it. New is not a bad word. These Lynx are doing an exceptional job of controlling that ball and sending it where they want it to go. And Mammoth's trying to send it where they want it to go. 2 shots on goal there, just barely protected by almost stagnant cars there. The rotation from the Lynx was not quite there, and they almost were punished for it, but the Mammoths couldn't quite drive it in, and now we're seeing Lynx try to get it further in. Mammoths trying to dig it out, and it's a free call here as Copycat's a little slow, but that demo all too punishing. 0 point ready on the defense from Mr. Electric as well. Crazy Cat helping him out. Looking to dig it out of there, keeping it center though. Protato wants to capitalize on that, but it's a little too low, and it gets sent right into their own goal. What a absolute send from Crazy Cat. Just a clear with force, with direction. We talked about that earlier. You can't just have a save. You've got to prevent that shot while making your own shot, and that's efficiency. Protato, speaking his own class on efficiency, gets a demo out while trying to take it out from the corner, and Mr. Electric's back in the field, sends it over and starts gliding it in. Crazy Cat can't quite get it in there. It's a good save. No follow-up for it. Mr. Electric, a little bit of an area play trying to get it in there. Doesn't quite make contact. Crazy Cat following the ball as Mr. Electric's already in front getting ready for that. And 0 point comes out with a sweep, looking to take it right off the top. Protato gets stolen off the top as well as Mr. Electric guides it over to the goal, but it's not going to be there as Endercrafter with a cute bump onto Crazy Cat prevents any kind of dig out from underneath, and Crazy Cat tries to get that goal. Not going to happen again. Mr. Electric's with a follow-up, maybe even to send over to a teammate, but it's not going to be there. And that demo again, teammate coming back to center it up and send it in, but it's going to go short, and it's over to the Mammoths territory. Again, Protato doesn't want it there, though. Sends it back out. 0 point forcing it in. Gets ready with that backboard and sends it in. These dribble plays off the backboard have been pretty solid, so that is another point.
Yeah, the Lynx are definitely, like I said before, they're running away with it. But at this point, there's not much of a game left to run away with.
Yep.
And so, I mean, I say this every time, but the Mammoths have to already be thinking about what they're going to be focusing on for the next round.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And even if that comes at the cost of getting a couple more scored on them here, it doesn't really matter how much they lose by. It's still a one-game loss.
Yes, these are the training grounds where they can start figuring things out, because that's the end of it, though. So we'll be looking into point 2. If you were the Mammoths, what would you be changing about the gameplay here?
I feel like we got to clean it up for sure. We got a little bit of double commits. There was probably the name of the game for at least 2 of those goals scored on the Mammoths. But a lot of it, I would argue, comes down to just kind of being outpaced to some extent. It felt like the Lynxes were playing with a little bit more confidence. So they were faster to the ball. They were faster to put on pressure. And so the Mammoths taking too long to kind of figure out what they wanted to do, kind of forced them into a position where they were on defense all the time. And then not being totally practiced with this team kind of made it so that defense transferred into goals scored on them really fast. So it's an adjustment you got to make is communicate more, and we've got to be thinking about what we want to do before we even get the ball. Right?
Yeah. Yep. Now, we can't just be looking for adjustments from the downside, because this, I don't know if you guys know it, we're staring into the eyes of a best of 7 here. So you've got to make proactive adjustments and proactive accommodations to the gameplay style of your other team. Do you think that there's anything that we can see from the winning team to kind of change things up, maybe drive it home even harder, maybe cut things off a little cleaner?
I think the thing to think about is that if you notice that you're outpacing them, you have to just keep that game plan. Because if you let up even a little bit and they start to get their confidence, that positive momentum of any kind, whether mentally or in-game, can swing an entire series really quickly. So if you want to keep your enemies down for the count, you have to make sure you play the game plan that's going to make them feel like they're suffocating all game.
Play for endurance, really wrap them in. I like that. Mr. Electric's in 0 point, kind of fumbling over the ball here. 0 point finally takes the front board. Copycat looking to chip it out as one goes center. Copycat keeping them nice and low, rolling it over. And again, tag teamed up with 0 point. Mr. Electric fighting again for the ball here. Protato looking to take it, but we have not Earth going to the forefront, fighting another double commit up in that corner before it's cleared over. And it seems like Lynx are kind of on top of each other here.
Yeah, the Lynx have kind of been kind of all over each other, but I have to honestly chalk it up to their aggressive mindset, maybe continuing to try to put on that force like I kind of pointed out before. But you have to dial it back and still say, okay, we're aggressive within reason, right? Because if we give them too many open opportunities, then they're going to score goals like this. And this, honestly, this is only 1 goal, but this play has happened maybe 2 or 3 times in this one game alone where the ball kind of just rolls downfield towards the Lynx goal, and nobody's there to defend it, and they chase after it and try to force it out at the very last second.
Yeah, wave dashing after the ball at the last second. A stitch in time saves 9, and good positioning and good communication and having the defensive confidence is what will really fix this situation here. Speaking of confidence, I believe that was another mid-air demo executed by the Mammoths. 0 Point looking to fight that man, takes it up into the air. Not Earth sending it back down to the ground. Almost actually goes to the ceiling. He's ready to accept the chip, letting it go a little too close to home here. Crazy Cat looking to drive it in, but Not Earth and Endercrafter don't like it. Sending it back. Mr. Electric tried to keep it on that side, but it's a little bit of a lob. Doesn't get too much ground, so it's back to the Mammoth scrambling for the ball, trying to send it back over to the half. And these Hail Mary clears are really coming out as people kind of chip it up, just trying to get it out from the defender, not worry where it's going. 0 Point and Mr. Electric's working together to corral it back in, try to turn it back around, set up a goal, but it's not going to happen. We have some people go wide and take it out back to the other side, and the return comes in again. It feels like the ball is almost stagnant. Not a lot of shot on goals, which if we had stats tonight, you would know equate to goals in general.
Yeah, and I think you make a really good point about not a lot of shots on goals, but if you look at our stats overlay, you can even see that the Lynx have not had very much offensive pressure this game. I mean, they have it right now, but they haven't really done anything with it, as you can tell, because 0 Point is the only one with any accolades to his name, whereas Endercrafter and Spooky Not Earth have at least a couple, right? And you have to wonder whether or not this is a symptom of the Mammoths kind of turning around and having an aggressive play style while also playing consistently, or if it's something where the Lynx are maybe just committing too much to their offensive end, and so they can't keep pressure for long enough to have plays open up.
I hear that. Good points all around. Endercrafter sending it back up over the... Look at all those demos. People are getting intense. They took to heart offensive pressure notes. Pro-Tato on the defense, sending it back out, looking to go straight to offense with a chip over one, looking to set up for the next. Expects Crazy Cat to send him to it, and he sure does. Trying to get it centered for a friend, and Endercrafter just can't do anything better than prevent an absolute clear, but it doesn't quite happen, and there it is rolling right in. And those clears right towards the goal have just had the goalie shots have been good today. We have had just the ball kind of rolling down the field, right down the highway, as a good save becomes a good clear, becomes a good shot on goal from a distance.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. And that play, honestly, it was a really great clear downfield, but I have to honestly give some kind of reference to 0 Point's great redirect right at the end there to put it on net. And it was just an impressive team play all around, a way to find each other even in the weirdest positions.
0 Point got really aggressive with those shots on goal, looking at 3 now instead. Endercraft are doing as well. And these demos are good too. I like the demo aggression. That's a third one for this round so far. And we've seen 2 double demos very recently. Not Earth and Pro-Tato looking to set up, move right in, but it's cleared through by 0 Point, who's looking to do the same for himself. Goes a little bit wide from a good disrupt from the other team. Pro-Tato continuing with the mantra, absolutely preventing any goal here. A little bump from disrupt for the Mr. Electrics, but he's going the wrong way and can't quite set it up without friends. He's got himself turned back around. Crazy Cat trying to get it out from up that wall, sends it over, and it gets a good chip from the orange side. Mammoth's going to continue playing that off, and Endercrafter with a good send in. A double save happens, and if there was backup, that could have been a chance. Not Earth coming in for it. Endercrafter, he's got the moves, but it goes high after hitting the rail, and oh, I thought they were all set up, but Endercrafter at the last second threads one right in the corner there, bringing us to 1-2.
Yeah, the Mammoths definitely finding a goal at the perfect time. You gotta imagine all the praise going around. And oh yes, between the teammates there.
Oh yeah.
Because putting on that goal right before overtime is kind of, it puts so much pressure on the Lynx to find such a quick goal. Otherwise, it's game over for them, and they go away with a 1-1 series tie, essentially making it a best of 5.
0 Point and Mr. Electrics are doing excellent hood work, trying to keep it on the air, but it's not quite there. Barely touches against the ground. Man, they really did walk it all the way from goal to goal, though, trying to make that last equalizer and really push us in the dead time to an overtime, but it wasn't quite there. And that's our first one. We see a point up for the Lynx against the Mammoths. Do you think that we started to see those accommodations? That one's a lot tighter.
Well, it definitely felt like the Mammoths were playing cleaner, maybe a lot more confidently. I mean, I've used that word a lot today, but it is kind of the trademark.
It's kind of the name of the game for today.
Yeah, for sure. and it kind of felt like they were just kind of going with the flow a little bit more while also playing aggressive. So they were kind of making the Lynxes play their to the Mammoths game a little bit more, I would argue.
Yeah. Take control of the game. Make them play your game. Mr. Electric's looking to... Ooh, starting off smooth with another demo. Mr. Electric's playing very center field here, looking to walk it on in. Goes a Raiwan Copycat, comes in to take it. Protato using up all the boost. Just trying to keep it airborne for Not Earth, but Electric's is back in and on it, preventing that swing. Endercrafter, just not in the right spot, and Mr. Electric's drives one in.
And I think that actually might have been a known goal off of a demo and in a desperate attempt to save a bad play. So, you know, regardless of whether or not he owned gold, it was probably going in there. But, wow.
Wow.
That was quick. An explosive start from both teams, to say the least.
Yeah, some precision work getting Lynx and Mammoths here to a 1-1, both in the best of 7 and for the 3rd point here.
Yeah, and whoever comes away with this game is going to have a notable advantage going into the last half of the best of 7.
Indeed.
And it's definitely not something to scoff at, because best of 7s take a while.
Even with
Even with short Rocket League games, it becomes wearing at some point, and so your best Rocket League sometimes isn't going to be those last couple of games.
Oh, yes.
No matter how late it is in the series. I mean, winning 4 games in a row in general takes a long time.
Which is tricky, because it feels like after accommodation to this and to that, and people gaining more confidence playing with each other and against who they're playing against, you have to be playing better every round to keep up the pacing, and that's so difficult when there's so many rounds on the docket. So hopefully they're playing slow and keep lots of Red Bull on hand. We see Protato looking to send it back down, Not Earth chipping it out in center. Protato again with the defense, but there's not really quite anyone for it. Mr. Electric's almost had a free goal there, but it's dug out from underneath him when it goes wide, and 0 point now on the defense looking to take it out. Electric's trying to redeem himself, steals it from him twice in a row there. 0 point, absolutely arming it back though. Chips it up, and Crazy Cat takes it from out over the goal. Endercrafter so close, but gets thrown to the ceiling instead. Mr. Electric's watching the ball, gets a little tap on it, not a lot of value. Crazy Cat looking to send it up to the goal, and here's one, sending it over one player, but not quite the second. And that second player, that Mammoth player, a good chip right on over towards the goal. We're seeing better, better drive. Ooh. There you go. That was good management. I was going to say better drive and better direction and better intentionality from the Mammoths with their points, and I definitely feel like that was a good display of that 3-man follow-up chain. Just good, pretty good placement overall. Mammoths really deserved that one.
Yeah, and Spooky Not Earth on that almost made a really, really like backwards redirect play that would have been a fancy shot to get to watch again, but still an impressive display of offensive pressure that even if he doesn't find the back of the net there clearly, his team's ready for him to just make sure it's locked in.
Yeah.
And the Mammoths come away with a lead again. Oh, and another one.
Ooh, yeah, Crazy Cat with a sneaky over the top there, bringing us to, I believe, 2-2.
Yeah, and you can see both teams are desperate for this game lead at this point.
Oh, indeed, and what a tight game it's been so far. A lead would be huge here as we come up on almost halfway through this game.
And you never know, it may be all the confidence they need after they got the first game jitters out of the way, and followed by the other team's first game jitters. It's kind of a back and forth, and honestly at this point, if I'm either team, I've got to be feeling both a little bit desperate and a little bit jumpy, because no matter what happens here, we fought so hard for this game.
Yeah, that both teams are committed. They're doing well.
Definitely some good defense from both teams. It doesn't feel like we've seen a lot of really stray kind of easy goals come to the back of the net like the last couple of games. Definitely feels like everything's fought for to some extent, with a couple mishaps here and there, but nothing too big and in your face. But I really like the passing and just everyone's in the way at all the time and stuff like that, where no matter what happens with the pass off the backboard there, Endercrafter is there to find the back of the net.
Endercrafter has had some solid positioning tonight. I know we've touched on him earlier, but we've had some other players with some great positioning as well. I think the Mammoths are pulling it together here being able to play with each other, it feels like the follow-ups are a lot more solid. A little bit of a double commit there has a good play, but it's not quite there. Spooky not Earth with the camera right in the face of the ball as it skews over him a few times in a row. They finally chip it back out and get it out of the way so he can leave the goalpost now and start playing offensive. Oh, no, he can't. Crazy Cat sending it over with a backboard play, laces it through the corner there. It had me fooled. I thought they were on the defense for sure, but that was a good wrestle out from the ball, bringing us to 3-3. Wow, people really fight back for the goal here. 43 seconds on the clock. Someone has got to make this decision shot.
Yeah, and the Lynx have just as bad of a grip in this game, even when they're behind. They just refuse to let go of this game and say, we will keep this win. We will get here. But the Mammoths fighting just as hard, holding the lead, being the ones that consistently start that lead, kind of puts a lot of pressure on the Lynx still. It kind of makes them feel like they're on the back foot even when they're tied. And so you've got to wonder if the pressure is eventually going to break them down or if the Lynx are going to be resilient, bounce back, and come back with even more pressure after every goal and after every game.
Resilience is the name of the game, and a potential 7 goal or game lineup here.
A lot of weird aerial plays from both teams. It feels like they're kind of trying to show off a little bit more, but also using their mechanical talent to force plays that are usually pretty hard to predict and pretty well thought out overall.
The old unpredictable air roll left. I love it.
Ooh, a close miss from Endercrafter could spell disaster here.
Ooh.
So close. Oh, great follow-up shot.
There was time to set up, but it wasn't quite there. And an excellent follow-up shot to be sure. I believe that puts us to a 3-4. We'll take a little second to analyze that, talk about that. We are definitely seeing a lot more what I would call cooperative play, where you don't just have a shot on goal that either makes it or is cleared to the other side for a single shot on goal, but these repeat, these rebound, this rotation of the triangle keep moving and keep having the consistent shots on goal here. I think it's been a lot more fluid, yet a lot more structured gameplay.
I totally agree with you. And it was really nice to see kind of the pressure assimilate in a way where it was shot after shot after shot after shot, and the defense kind of being tested and said, hey, you have to get this out of the way.
Yeah.
If you don't get this out of the way, we're going to find the back of the net.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think we're going to be going to a break real quick, so we will be right back into it, finishing up this one and going in deeper into the best of 7. You guys enjoy, and we'll be right back to you.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Welcome back to the Esports Tower, or the Boise State University's Game Pants Arena. We're going to be showing you some Esports Tower content as far as Rocket League goes. Look at our Overwatch players up there on stage. They're doing so great. We have the Lynx and the Mammoths playing off. We're right in the middle of a big best-of-7, a little showcase game here, a little quick match. Doc's keys to the game, just keeping you on your feet there. And here I am. I'm Old Soul, be casting for you tonight, and Patchy is here with me on the desk. Tacky, sorry. I knew I would make that mistake, and we called it earlier. Lynx have been using the spring to regroup and come together as a team, and are hoping this show match could start off good things for the team going forward. I think they're doing well so far. Anything you can highlight about the Lynx play?
I definitely feel like they have had a lot of offensive pressure, and they work together really well. I'm really impressed to see their passing plays come together, and I'm really excited to see how they spread out, and they do a good job of being present for their team's hits or 50s, depending on which way it goes.
Yeah. Well, we're ready to get back into the game. While those players start queuing up, let's talk about what the Mammoths have been doing. The Mammoths have struggled to break through in the Octane bracket so far this spring, and are hoping this series could be the turning point heading into next week. I feel like they've really come together, at least over the course of this match, and are playing well at a 7-game pace, making accommodations and really tightening up.
I definitely think they have it in them.
Wow.
Ooh.
What a quick equalizer. When we left off, the Lynx were closing up that second point. They're at a 2-1 right now in this best-of-7. Now they're at a 1-0, really taking that head start on it.
Yeah, I definitely think the Mammoths have it in them for sure. I think the Lynx show that they definitely do bleed that second game, or that third game, I should say.
Yep.
But, you know, the same still goes for the Mammoths. Like, there's weaknesses that both teams can kind of abuse on both sides. But to some extent, both of these teams have done a good job of kind of accelerating what they are good at and using those passing plays and generating offensive pressure via the backboard. So it's kind of anyone's game at this point. There's a lot of Rocket League left to play in the series.
Oh, a lot left to play. And if there's any left to play, it can always go either way. Rocket League has such a volatile, kind of comeback appreciative style in the rule set here. We could easily see Mammoths with a quick couple, and Not Earth is looking to make it happen with a great follow-up from Protato. Little combo goal there, hitting with the 0-1-2, bringing us to a 1-1 in this best-of-7 so far, fighting for that 4th point up in the board, up in the air like this 50-50. 0 point. A fight indeed sends it, but Protato is ready. Skews it to the side, sending it into the corner, and follows up for it, abandoning the goal to send it right to the offense. What a clear from goal to goal. The goalie's represented all around Protato. That's his second one in a row. Ready for the hat trick. He brings Mammoths to a 2-1. The energy is unreal. Mammoths do not want to be squashed here. Protato again, but goodness, 0 point doesn't want to see it either, and offensive energy to be sure. These quick goals, we're only at 3:45, and there's already 4 points on the board in even 2-2, though.
Yeah, less than half of this game played, and if this continues, we're going to see almost a 10, maybe 12-goal game.
Indeed, they're on pace for it at least. Hopefully they can pace up their defense some and really square off some of these goals. These have been some quick ones. We see another good shot on goal. 0 point in the background, giving you a good angle for it. Crazy Cat, speaking of good angles, sends it right up into the air. Protato looking to capitalize on that. Oh, one player not quite watching their going, gets demoed. Mr. Electric coming out from the back of the net, prevents a good goal, sends it downfield. Endcrafter looking to keep that out. Oh, almost tries to send it in front of the goal, but Spooky and gang prevent that. We've got several people up inside the box there. Maybe not enough I could call it a double commit, but a little bit close. We've been doing so well spreading out and keeping things light. A good shot and a good defense there. Almost a demo in the corner. Mr. Electric's ready for the follow-up, but Protato doesn't want it to happen. Sends it offense, but doesn't follow as hard as we've seen him do before. Gets it centered for either team. Mr. Electric's looking to make it his, but Not Earth is ready to steal it outright from under him. Mr. Electric's going back to the back of the pack as 0 point. Looks to center it up for him. Goes a bit sideways as Protato gets aggro for it, and Crazy Cat coming in from that position looks to clear it out to Mr. Electric's and take it back to their side of the field. He looks, oh, can't quite find his 0 point with the next in spot, and Protato is all over them. Not Earth following up on that to send it back to the other side. These clears have been so quick. And the clears, we've seen some quality clears going straight for the goal. It's getting a little bit wide here as people are just trying to keep it out from the other player. And I think that when you come on stage with that energy, all of a sudden one person having control and having contact of the ball just means so much more. Look at these demos just sweeping up the field. I think people are afraid to let the other person have it too much, and we're seeing a little bit more scramble for the ball, a little bit more high energy. They're going really offensive here.
Yeah, I mean, we're right back to where we were with the last game.
Yep.
Right back to that 2-2 tie that ended up being a 3-3 tie. But I feel like both teams have started to attach a lot of value to that early lead and kind of getting the first 3 or 4 goals and just kind of keeping it there. Obviously, as a strategy, you want to score more than the other team. But it's more so that keeping that early pressure and forcing the other team to respond to your goals is going to be something that they're trying to play for a lot mentally. And I think that rings definitely true with the aggressive pressure that we've seen already. And lots of open nets, but it feels like it's definitely something that is a result of both teams kind of fully committed to these hyper-offensive plays, regardless of how they go. And to some extent, it can work, but to other extents, do you just want to play normal Rocket League? Do you want to integrate that offensiveness into some defensiveness as well, or do we want to just kind of let things play out the way they do and try to force a really early lead? And it's kind of ended the same disaster for both teams, as both kind of at a 2-2 now. Both goals for both teams kind of nulled by the other.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring up those options of, you know, not just how do I want to pull this rotation, but in long-term gameplay, what does this game want to look like? How do we want to come out in the beginning? Wow, Not Earth coming in full sail for a goal, and look at that demo. So much action going on here. That mindset can be extrapolated out when we're in such a long match set here. Like, do you want to use that first game to test the, test the reach of your opponents? Do you want to pull out the sneaky tricks and all the good flips later in the game? Will there be a later in the game? We see us going into overtime here, talking about later in the game. Unfortunately, we didn't get any other points after that 2-2. A real struggle for the ball. We start to see this 2-2 starting off with a quick steal from a teammate. Protato looking to line it up, going in for the send, and wow, what a quick one. Only 11 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, and for me, the MVP of that specific match was definitely Protato. Obviously, because of his 2 goals, but he was also involved in that last goal as well, which gives him 100% goal participation in that game, which I think is really impressive. I think in the past couple games, we've maybe seen him be a little bit more of a midfielder, defender kind of player. Not that he's irrelevant. He was definitely doing his part in defensive rotations.
Be on high,
Yeah, he definitely was a big part of that Mammoth defense. So it was really interesting to see. I wonder what changed. You know, you have to wonder. What do you think changed that kind of brought Protato more into the forefront of this game?
Maybe they just switched mice. It's the same people. No, I think, having that confidence moving into the goal. And when we talked about the pacing and the feel for the gameplay of the best of 7 as a whole, maybe he said, this is my turn to step up. This is where I've got to make a change. Became the IGL and started moving things around because, man, he got so much screen time in there and was the forefront goal pusher of that round for sure.
Yeah, definitely impressive to see Protato kind of come out of nowhere and score all those goals that time around. And I'm really looking forward to if that's kind of the strategy they keep here, or if they're kind of going to revert back to what they were doing before. But, I mean, if it ain't broke.
Yep. I always say rinse and repeat. If you don't have to make, aggressive accommodations. If it works, leave it.
Yeah, definitely. And it feels like the Mammoths and the Lynx here are determined to tie this series.
They
no matter
really
what they
want to.
Whether it's in goals or games, it's like they just really want that Game 7.
No, there's been quick equalizations, and we've spent most of the match time in full match tie.
Yeah, it feels like past that first game, it kind of just turned into a tie fest of both teams fighting tooth and nail for any kind of edge they could get to kind of maybe tip the momentum. Like I was talking about before, the mental momentum follows the in-game momentum. And I think it's important that both teams are adding value to whoever kind of starts to get ahead might run away with it. That might be all they need is just that little bit of lead, and that's probably why they're fighting over it.
Definitely. Ooh, a lot of people sailing into that one. Kind of leaves the blue goal open. Crazy Cat scrambling to get it back out from underneath that. Protato coming in for it. He's seen the spotlight. He's tasted the glory, and he wants more of it. Endercraft coming in after to back him up. Mr. Electrics doesn't want it and sent it straight into the goal. Absolutely forcing it in there. Just driving it right through the defensive player. An excellent play there, bringing us to 1-0. The Lynx with it up, but only barely. 3.5 minutes on the clock. Mammoth could easily score another goal here anytime. So the Lynx have got to play aggressively and not let up still. Make sure that they have these security goals, that they have these confidence goals, and they can drive it to a 3-2 in the best of 7. Whereas Mammoth, they're playing down, but not by much. They have this clock and they have the ability to bring it back to a tie and start working towards a golden goal, or maybe even just finish it off in a similar fashion. So Endercrafter looking to chip it up, gets it right over Crazy Cat and towards the goal, but 2 people, count them, 2 are already on top of that ball. Not Earth with another try, tries to get it, but Mr. Electric plays pro, getting real aggressive in there, deep into the other 3. Protato following suit, sailing it over, but they're already ready for him. Endercrafter was ready on the rebound, but it went a little bit too deep and they were a little bit too fast. Now Mr. Electric, with a good read on that bump, is able to keep it moving in the right direction, at least for a little bit, before Spooky Not Earth drives it all the way out, and Protato with a great dip. It's a good thing Mr. Electric circled back around and held that third man stance to prevent it, because now goes back over the side for Potato to defense against. 0 point Mr. Electric's posted up to take this one, but Not Earth sails above them. Mr. Electric's goes back to Copycat, sending it back over here to the mouth of the goal, but there's not a lot of follow-up on the close angle, so it goes out back to the halfway. And we see it not really getting too tight in, too far down, and definitely not onto the blue side. We've seen a lot better defense from these teams here, and it's less of a scramble over and over again, and it's more of a bout inside the field before it goes over. Mr. Electric's here trying his hardest to prove me wrong, lets it go real far before skewing it off front from the goal. Endercrafter wants to keep it in, and Protato with another follow-up, sending it straight over 0 point and bringing us to a 1-1.
Yeah, it feels definitely like so far in our limited experience of the last half of this best of 7 that Protato's the name of the game. Protato's got the Lynx number. He's finding the back of the net over and over, and he's in the right spot. But you have to hand it to his team still. I mean, a lot of these plays that he's making are because he's in the right place at the right time, but it's because his team is passing to him as well. So it's great teamwork overall, and Protato is doing a really good job of being that efficient striker that his team needs.
He is. And being the striker is not the only thing you need on a team. You can't win a 1v3 with a striker. Endercrafter and Not Earth are doing a good job of setting up and being that defense. We don't see it on the wrong side of the field very often because of them. Protato looking to dig it out, maybe get a nice little chip up here. What a beautiful slide over on that ball. Just getting fancy here. 0 point looking to chip it out and comes right above him, sending it up. What a beautiful play there. Kind of passed it to himself, and the goal was just open.
Yeah, it felt like the Mammoths might have really underestimated the power of the Lynx in that certain situation.
It really did.
Because you saw the defender was so pushed up.
Yeah.
He was kind of maybe expecting it to kind of just drip into the ground, but definitely doesn't. Maybe this is the lead I was talking about before. Maybe finally having more than one goal of an advantage is going to be something that the Lynx are able to run away with, but we'll have to see, because Protato and the Mammoths are definitely not going to let up easily, as they've proved over and over in this series so far.
And look at that, the Lynx going hard. They picked up a goal while we were talking. The 2 wasn't even fresh on the board, and they pulled up a hot 3v1 with only 30 seconds left on the clock. Can Not Earth, Protato, and Endercrafter score 2 more goals at a 10-second-a-goal pace to really close it in? They're going to try to. Protato looking to squeeze one in. It's not going to be there, and I doubt that they're going to. If they couldn't find it there, I don't think they'll be able to center back up and steal another one.
Yeah.
The Lynx trying their hardest to keep it on the floor, while Not Earth. Protato looking to dig it up, and a good send. Sends it right there. Wow, a bounce almost on 0 seconds. But it's just not quite what they need to have.
Yeah.
Would have been an impressive little buzzer beater there, but.
Yeah, that was super impressive. I mean, assuming that goal goes in, right?
Yeah.
Now we're at a 3-2, and we're right back to that 1-goal game. So, once again, proved wrong. The Mammoths really just, despite being down, you have to argue that they didn't really feel the pressure. They're still keeping themselves in it, and they're still making sure that the Lynx are fighting for every single inch of the field that they earn.
Definitely.
And, at this point, I have no idea who's taking this series. Even with the series lead, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I feel like I have a bias towards the series lead each time, and that keeps changing hands each time. I keep being impressed, and I keep seeing these accommodations from either side, changing about how they play and how they take on the field and how they take on the defenders or offenders here. Just an excellent play there right at the end to have people in front of you, to chip it back to yourself, score up over, cross goal. We've seen some good Real sharp shooting here from some people. So these cross table shots always impress me, and I love seeing that. A quick little 50-50. Obviously, Protato was up to the plate for it. Endercrafter looking to follow that up while Not Earth is around the side, but ooh. And Copycat in the last second was able to clear in front of the goal, and it's a good thing because if there was a shot there, that would have been pretty well uncontested, but no worries, no harm, no foul. Not Earth is ready to get ready for this shot here after Protato, but Protato is not even allowed to touch the ball. Yeah, they're just playing monkey with him. Not Earth getting his hands onto it, tries to take it, but Mr. Electric chips it just a little too high for him. Endercrafter keeping it on that side, and though it keeps slipping through the grass, Mammoths find a way to keep it on the Lynx turf. 0 point. Looking to prove me wrong. Copycat, 0 point, trying to get this. Wow, look at that. Do you call that a 60-30 when there's a double commit on a 50-50?
God, I don't know what we call it other than disaster. I mean, it should never happen, right? But wow, this battle just right at the front post.
Oh,
finally, the teams are starting to separate and say, okay, reset.
All right, yeah, calm down, everybody.
There was 4 people in a small space for a section there.
Yeah, they were
trying to figure out who gets the ball now.
Man, I thought I had blinked and we switched to a video of the parking lot. It was tight packed in there. And look at that again, these air scrambles and slow-mo ball dropping. Crazy Cat looking to dig it out of there. Spooky Not Earth holding the ball while Protato flies across him, and it's, oh my goodness, so deep. All it takes is Mr. Electric to bat an eyelash and send it right over the line, bringing us to a 1-0.
Yeah, the Lynx already coming away with the lead. Maybe they're starting to run away with the pressure. They're starting to feel, okay, we got this, guys. Let's continue to keep up this pressure. Let's force them into a bad spot. But the Mammoths still fighting so hard
and
for
we've
this.
seen the Mammoths themselves have a a 1 point lead on a 1 match lead and lose the round. So it could totally go either way.
Yeah, and if there's anyone that has anything to say about it at this point, it's definitely Protato. And it's really kind of confusing sometimes to see just how aggressive these teams are getting, because you can see on the Mammoths end, there's been sometimes, like we talked about before, 5, sometimes 6 players all just within the key of the goal.
Yeah.
Desperately trying to get that little bit of edge to either force it out or force it into the back of the net. And to some extent, that's not even bad as long as the options are still covered. But it's really just a lot going on. Like you said, it's like parking lot simulator to some extent.
Oh my goodness. Sometimes. Crazy Cat trying to prevent it from Not Earth, but it doesn't happen. Not Earth just kissing the ceiling, glides it right over towards the goal. Endercrafter looking to at least center it up a little bit, but there's not really anyone there. Mammoths are already on the defense. They're worried about what people can do. Crazy Cat and 0 point being that threat. Maybe not 0 point as he's wiped from the field. Ooh, getting close to the goal there. Mr. Electric does a good job of chipping it out and sending it up. 0 point to follow up. Almost makes it a goal, but Endercrafter dashes right in and takes it out from underneath him. We get some more back and forth right here in the corner. Not a lot of direction, not a lot of drive. Right up till Copycat has a chance for it. It's not quite there, and look at that fall by Mr. Electric's absolutely protected by Protato. 0 point, hoping to replicate, but it's not going to happen. Endercrafter on the defense. The Mammoths are fighting tooth and nail to prevent these security goals, but it is so close. It is so scarily close, and they take Not Earth off the field. Oh. And that's all it takes for Mr. Electrics to drop one into the goal.
And the pressure finally cracks that Mammoth defense.
Oh my goodness.
The Lynx with a 2-0 lead now, and with only 1:30 left, the Mammoths have got to start to feel a little bit backed into a corner. It's that lead that I'm talking about. That pressure that the Lynx have now on the Mammoths is now going to start to feel insurmountable as every one of these seconds go by, as every time one of the Mammoths players briefly looks up and checks the clock, they're going to be thinking about, oh my goodness.
Yeah, for sure. And they were so close to digging it out of there, but the pressure, and I feel like that was a really good example of, oh no, oh man.
Another
what
one.
A precision shot right to the corner, beautifully done. And from the back post, full boost was just not quite enough to get it out of there. That last goal was a good just, ooh. Mammoth's trying to fight for another one there, trying to bring up their heads for a quick sip of air. As they're drowning under the points here, Lynx are looking to close the game out. Mr. Electrics dunking another one onto the Mammoths. Oh, they looked so good. They looked like they had so much potential, but this lead is just so hard to break here. Potato is going to be fighting an uphill battle against him, and Endercrafter comes swooping in to help out. It's not quite going to be there. Little dunk against the corner, centers it up. Spooking out of Earth trying to get it there, but some bumps. Leave it to Endercrafter to get it. Not going to happen with 0 Point on the defense. He's able to wriggle it out, but not Earth comes up on top to take it from him. Potato ready to accept this from 0 Point, but 0 Point sends it far, and it's Endercrafter who's going to have to run in for it, keep it on that blue turf, but goodness, 15 seconds on the clock. We are coming to a close, and look at this ego goal attempt from the Lynx. Just taking an extra one, bringing it to 5 if they can, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to. Lynx are going to start looking to just ground the ball and prevent any more gameplay here. We see Demo left and right, looking like they're trying to clear the field already. On the 0, all they've got to do is get touchdown, but it keeps playing right against those corners, and there it is, midfield, and the Lynx take it. An excellent play. Goodness, they really pulled it out there.
Yeah, and it's kind of what I had explained that I was worried about before, you know.
Yep.
If the landslide starts to go a little too fast, it's going to be too hard to hold for either team. And once the Lynx kind of had it figured out, it was just too much for the Mammoths, and all just came crashing down in this beautiful fire and flame.
Of so many demos.
Of so many demos.
So many last-second demos.
So many open nets. But to be honest, it's just a symptom of the Mammoths offense, and it goes together well with the Lynx offense and this great unstoppable force meets immovable object. And it was a great series. Super impressed.
A great series indeed with lots of fire and flames. I'm glad plenty were watching. If you guys want to be seen like that by college expert recruiters, talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, and game producers, then you can just join the club. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights with our featured rumbles. Recruiters are taking notice too. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro and land a collegiate scholarship. Congratulations to Lynx on winning our show match of the night. Now it is time to crown our ICCU POTAG, or player of the game. I know we're both going to say Potato. So far, he was definitely a good head right there at that last, but we've seen plenty tonight. Any other favorites?
Honestly, Ender caught my eye more than once.
Ender
he
did.
Might not have been the end result of a lot of different goals, but in my opinion, he was a master of that midfield today.
He definitely was.
Did a great job finding ways to open opportunities and did a great job of making sure pressure stayed where he wanted it to be a lot of the time.
Yeah, really controlled the field. Let's see who we had chosen for us here. Mr. Electrics definitely commanded the field as well. We saw some great dives from him.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like Mr. Electric is definitely a great pick as well. If I hadn't picked the other two, I might pick Mr. Electric. It felt like he was that silent killer all game for the Lynx.
Just
and
ready
he
for
was
it.
in the face of the Mammoths, forcing them to make these really awkward plays over and over again. So even if things went well for the Mammoths, Mr. Electric was still this thorn in the side that was poking
and
until it finally broke.
As well as the thorn in the side, Mr. Electrics is your ICCU player of the game. The ICCU Player of the Game to you is brought by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a great team more successful, just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success. Mr. Electric is the Idaho Central Credit Union Player of the Game. There we go. Look at that. Look at that expert air roll. The flashy gameplay and a silent killer indeed. Well, before we close out and send it to the top 5, do you have any big takeaways?
Well, offense, obviously.
Offense
is the one word that describes this entire week this week. Offense was huge. I think if I would have to take away something, it would be defense. Because it felt like the offense was definitely there, the aggression was there, the confidence was there. The problem was that you were sacrificing far too much to compensate for that. And that is how you learn. You play in extremes. You have to get a lot better at one thing and sacrifice one other thing entirely in order to get better at this game.
Definitely.
So I can't blame any of them.
Yeah, no, they made some great commitments, and I'm sure they've learned lots of great lessons. We had some people who took their lessons to the field immediately and got some great value out of it. Well, congratulations to all our teams tonight in the Fennec group for some fantastic games. All the teams had some great moments, and in the end, the Spiders came out on top as the champions of Week 2. Make sure to join us next for a fresh new Rocket League Rumble, Wednesday, 6 p.m. EST. We'll close out with the top 5 presented to you by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your impressive critical thinking skills into real time with more than 10 jobs offering $20K in bonus and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Thank you, and y'all have a good night.
one less mistake on defense, and it ended up causing a lead to head in the way of Spiders. But if you're Surge White, you're definitely not out of this. You've scored more than enough to keep this game going. I'm really excited to see if they can keep it up, or if someone's getting breaks sooner or less, and we'll see 3 or 4 goals scored at once. And I have to say that was a great play. That seems like the highlight line, at least downfield. But once they get down there, you can see players like Tove and Twiz do a really good job of just rebounding it over and over and forcing Surge White to have kind of a reaction immediately.
Ooh, Zoot almost there for the follow-up, not quite. Apparently Jaw, and there we go, Pop and Jeffrey with the third. That was 3 rebounds or shots on goal.
Over again. And it's just, you know, your pressure doesn't mean anything for the Vipers if you can't actually make something of it, or you break down on defense far too often to make up for it.
Do you think this is a one person at a time positioning issue? Oh my goodness, an absolutely wide open goal. Speaking of positioning issues, Zydra just downed the field before it goes over. Mr. Electric's here trying his hardest to prove me wrong. Lets it go real far before skewing it off front from the goal. And Crafter wants to keep it in, and Potato with another follow-up, sending it straight over 0 point and bringing us to a 1-1. Bit of a double commit there, has a good play, but it's not quite there. Spooky Not Earth with the camera right in the face of the ball as it skews over him a few times in a row. They finally chip it back out and get it out of the way so he can leave the goalpost now and start playing offensive. Oh, no he can't. Crazy Cat sending it over with a backboard play, laces it through the corner there. It had me fooled.